So I just came out to my BMW car and it's come up with a warning message saying engine oil level at minimum. Now I wouldn't normally do such a simple video as just topping up some oil, but there's a few things on these BMW turbo engines that I'd like to share with you that I think will be useful to you. The first one is how to know what oil type to use for the top up. The second one is I'm just going to talk briefly about what BMW engine oil consumption is normal. The third one is a little bit more specific to the engine in this car. It's the BMW N55 engine, and they're very sensitive to oil level, both being overfilled and also being underfilled. And I suspect it probably applies to some of the other BMW turbo engines in the range, so I thought it was worth sharing that with you. And then the final one is just how to do the BMW electronic engine oil check, which you do inside the car, and it's just a simple procedure of pushing a few buttons, but I'll cover that as well. So let's have a jump into the car and have a look at the warning message, and you can make sure it's the same as what you're getting, and then we're on the same page. And also the screen inside the car gives you some of the information that I was talking about a minute ago. So this is the warning message that it's showing on the main display, and I did flash it up on the screen earlier in the video. And note that it's saying top up 1 litre at this point, so I'll come back to that later. Now, the thing that interests me, and you hopefully at this point, is it's telling you that more information is available in the owner's handbook, and you can access that just right here, and I'll show you how. So if we go ahead and select owner's handbook, then you can see it gives us a bit more info about topping up. So it's saying to top up within the next 120 miles, and again it's reiterating the 1 litre. And then just by scrolling down, spinning the little selector wheel, then it starts to tell you about oils. So I mentioned earlier which oil to top up with. Well, right here on the screen, if you scroll through the menus, it gives you a bit of information on different BMW oils, which one should be suitable for your car, and that'll be specific to your car and the handbook that's loaded into your system. So here's the oil I'm going to use for my top up. It's a Castrol Magnatec, and it's a fully synthetic 5W40. And this one's an LLO4 oil, which is one of the oils you just saw on the list. And it's the one that I did on the service on my car 6 months ago. So that moves us neatly onto BMW oil consumption. So I serviced my car and filled it up to the maximum about 6 months ago in 8,000 miles. And as you saw, the oil level at minimum warning has just come on. So I think that it's probably normal to top up 1 litre every 6 months and approximately 8,000 miles on this particular engine. And it probably applies to a lot of the other turbo engines in the BMW range. So I mentioned that I serviced the N55 engine in this car about 6 months ago. And when I did that, it took 6.5 litres of oil. So I bought 2 4-litre bottles, and I knew that would leave me with, where is it? About 1.5 litres to play with, because I knew that I'd be needing to top up after about 6 months, long before the next service is required. So I suppose one of my tips is always buy more oil than you need, and then you've got some ready for the top up, which you almost know you're going to have to do before the service is due. So I mentioned that most of the BMW turbo engines are sensitive to oil level, and that's particularly true of the engine in this car, the M135i. It's called the N55 engine, I mentioned that earlier. But you don't want to overfill engine oil in any car. So you notice the instructions in the car said to put 1 litre, top up 1 litre. It's important that you just top up by the amount that it said. And the other thing that's important is you don't want to run low on oil for obvious reasons. And again, this particular engine is sensitive to oil starvation, so don't leave it too long. If it comes up with engine oil level at minimum, get it topped up. It says you can take up to 120 miles to do that, but honestly I'd do it straight away. So let's get this 1 litre into the measuring jug. So you can see I'm taking it quite seriously that I want to top up the right amount. If you just start pouring this and relying on the gauge that's on the bottle, you'd probably be near enough, but I've got this measuring jug handy, and so I'm going to use that, and then I know I'm exact. And then somewhere on the engine you'll have your oil fill cap. I like to use a little funnel because then it stops me making a mess everywhere. And let's get that poured in. There we go, that's our 1 litre added. Get your cap put on straight away, you don't want anything going down into the engine. And what I'll add at this point is engine oil consumption is one way to lose oil, and of course the other one is oil leaks. So if you think that you're getting too much consumption, it's always worth having a look underneath the car and just seeing if it's getting coated with oil. Get the engine under tray off. Normally there's about a dozen screws to undo that, and then just, you know, have a look, and that might be where some of your oil's going. So the top up's done, and I'm going to jump in the car and I'm going to show you how to do the oil level check, and we'll see what it's settled out at. So you need to do the BMW electronic engine oil level check when the engine's running and when it's at a certain temperature. So sometimes it's worth just going for a 10-minute drive at this point, but I was using my car a little bit earlier and I've only topped up 1 litre, so I think I might be, you know, not too far off at this point. So let's get the engine started and we'll have a look at it. Okay, let's go to vehicle information. Let's go to our vehicle status, and then straight away it's saying, do you want to start your engine oil level measure? So I'm going to select that. It won't let me start the measurement. Can you see how it's not lit up? It's just in grey. It means it's not at the right temperature yet, so I'm just going to have to wait on that a little bit. So I decided to take my own advice and have a little drive, and as you can see now, the start measurement has gone white, so that means I can select it. Okay, let's select that. And what it tends to do is it just raises the revs slightly. So normally my revs would only be like 600 or 700 RPM, and as you can see they're on about 1100 now, so it does that automatically. And then you get a little counter which goes across on the screen, so it's only on 30 odd % right now, and you have to wait for it to go all the way across, so we'll speed this up a bit. Okay, so we're almost there. Right, okay, so here we go. So it says the engine oil level is okay now. As you can see, we haven't quite made it up to the max. It's interesting, we were on the minimum, as we know. We added 1 litre and we're almost to the max, but not quite there. And so my advice is to leave it at that. Don't add more oil, because from my experience with these cars, this oil level check isn't the most accurate. So it's showing a little bit off the top now, and if you add some, then you might find you overshoot. And like I said, engines don't like being overfilled. You know, if you go for a spirited drive, then it can create pressure down in the sump, and that can cause oil to get past the rings, which means then suddenly your engine might burn a lot of oil, which is bad for your cat. So yeah, it's up to you, but I'm quite happy being just that far off the max. And now I'll run it now, and I'll either get to my next service or it'll come up again and I'll top up with another litre. So I hope you liked the video, and if you did, then please give me a thumbs up. It really helps the channel. And if you want to see more car videos like this one, and also some much more detailed and more technical ones, then please consider subscribing, and maybe I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.